Most of my friends are single, and most of them are having such a hard time finding like a good man.
Meet Isabel. She's from Canada and has been living in Serbia for almost 5 years. Here she runs her copywriting business and creates content about her life in the country. She shared why dating in Serbia is hard for women, how Serbian families raise boys and girls with very different expectations, and why she felt safe in Serbia from the very first day. Enjoy!
So you came to Serbia. What was your first impressions?
My first impression was I got in a cab to go to my Airbnb, and the cab driver didn't know where I was going. Like, just kind of got in the cab and just started driving around. The language was absolutely insane. I didn't understand him, he didn't understand me. And I just remember that we were like driving down a one-way street in Dorchel, and he realized that he had gone the wrong way. So instead of like taking a little roundabout way, he literally just put the car in reverse and like started backing up like 2 blocks down a one-way street. And I was like, this is a little crazy. And then beyond that, my first impression was just like so safe and so lively. Like the first night that I went out here, I just remember feeling very inspired and like open, and there was just a very like captivating energy in the city. I don't know how else to describe it, but I just felt very safe walking around.
It was first night you felt it.
Yeah, I think a big part of it. So I was actually in Canada like a couple months ago, and one of the big differences between Canada and Serbia is that in Canada, there's like nobody out. You can be out for a walk at 7 p.m. and the streets are just like empty. So there's very much so this feeling of like you're just kind of moving through the world alone, and whatever happens in the environment around you, you're just kind of like a victim to. But in Serbia, it doesn't matter like what time you're walking around. In my neighborhood, I'll go out at 10 p.m. and there's like kids out in the street playing basketball. Like there's just so many people out and about all the time. So I think there's this general feeling of people being around and people looking out for you. It's very lively. You know, if somebody came up to attack you, you can see 10, 15 people around you right now. It's not like you're going to be alone, trapped on the street or something. And the other thing is just like, there's not like homeless drug addicts just everywhere on the street. Like I was living in Vancouver before this, and it's absolutely like such a stunning city, but they just have such an issue with like drug addiction and homelessness. You never know the kind of person that you're going to come across and what mental state that they're going to be in. And you just don't really have that here. There's not people that are wandering the street mentally ill. People just feel like safer and more normal, which I could sense like literally as soon as I got here.
You're living in Novi Beograd. Do you like this architecture?
It's not my favorite. I would say the thing that makes New Belgrade nice is definitely the parks and the open spaces. The buildings aren't necessarily the most beautiful part of this part of the city. Yeah.
What is your favorite part of the city?
Honestly, this area, I love it. Like I love being so close to the river. It's just very like cute, lots of families around, not too much traffic, not people like honking at each other. I like going into the center of the city and doing what I'm doing, go to a cafe, meet up with friends, whatever. And then I love crossing the bridge at the end of the day to leave the city and come back to New Belgrade, because I'm also so close to Ada Međica and Ada Sigalnia. So it's really easy for me to like take my scooter, take a little boat across the river and go to the lakes and stuff like that.
So you are dating a Serbian guy.
I am, yeah.
How it's for you as a Canadian woman to date a Serbian guy?
Obviously, me and my boyfriend have some differences because like he's Serbian, I'm Canadian, but it's so strange finding somebody that lives on the other side of the world, but is basically like the same person. Like I feel like he's the male version of me. We have so many similarities in like in how we think, in our values, in how we see the world.
Do you have some differences?
I would say the biggest differences is like related to like food is like a big one.
How it is?
I don't know, like for example, like prženica. To me, French toast is supposed to be sweet. I'm gonna have French toast with maple syrup. He's gonna have prženica with like cold cuts and feta cheese and stuff like that. So I feel like constantly when we're eating, or like for him, like a really delicious breakfast is like tomatoes from his garden and like peppers and cold cuts and like cheese and stuff like that. It's just so weird. I'm like, I'm getting used to having like a more saltier breakfast now, but for me, breakfast was always more of like a sweet thing. So I feel like there's those little differences there. And beyond that, honestly, I think when we first started dating, the biggest issue that we had was like going back to the family thing. It was so difficult for me to try and integrate myself into a family that I felt was already so close-knit, because I'm not from a family that's very close. Like when I moved to Serbia, my dad, like it took him a year and a half to download Telegram so that we could like stay in touch with each other. He's very much so like, you're off doing your thing, I'm off doing my thing. But with his family, like they call each other every single day. He's constantly going home for family lunches. Him and his sister like own property together. Like it's very, very enmeshed. When me and him first started dating, I think to a certain degree I felt threatened. And I felt like there wasn't enough space for me as the partner to come into his life because it was already so full with his family. So I think that navigating those familial relationships, and also like he's had to create stronger boundaries with his family as well, because he's not the little brother or like the son that can just be called upon 24/7. He's not going to be at home. Like he was living at home before we started dating and moved in together. A lot of different expectations and boundaries kind of had to be put in place as we started to navigate our relationship. And as we started to, me and him are now like, we have our family. So he has his family and his relationships, but now we have our relationship as well. So just learning how to create space for everything.
How did you meet, if it's not a secret?
Have you ever been to the cafeteria on Kraja Petra?
Yeah.
It's the cafeteria that has like 4 or 5 floors.
Yeah.
Like super tall. And so at the second last floor, there's that really big table. He was sitting at that table and I was sitting at that table because we both work remote. And he had to go to the bathroom. And so he's like, oh, can you watch my things while I go to the bathroom? And I was like, yeah, of course. So he went to the bathroom, came back, and I thought that he was trying to like chat me up. So I thought that he would come up to me afterwards and like have a conversation with me. But he literally just like sat down. He's like, and just kept on working.
Yeah.
But I thought he was cute. So when I was done working, I went up to him and I'm like, so like, have you been here before? Do you come here to work very often? And then we just started chatting and things just kind of went from there. Yes. Hi, baby. So this is Blackie, because she's black, obviously. And then the orange and white one is mascara, because she kind of has like, it looks like black around her eyes. In the evening, there's another lady named Snezhana that feeds the cats every night at 7:30. And in the evening, there will be like 10 cats here.
10 cats?
Yeah, because they all know. They know what time to come here to get food. They're so funny. They act like they're starving, but they get a literal feast every day. 2 times a day. Okay.
What do you think about dating scene in Serbia overall?
This is something that might get some negative comments on this video, but I think in general right now it's hard for women to date. Serbian sons and their mothers have a very like strange relationship. I've heard before the saying that in Serbia, the daughters are raised and the sons are loved. And you can really feel that. So there's really high expectations on the women of how they're going to show up and being strong, being independent, working, cleaning the house, making sure that there's a 5-course meal, making sure that the kids are taken care of. And the sons, it's like, you're such a good boy. Like, you can do no wrong. So many Serbian women that are dating say that. They say that it's really difficult to find a man who's like in his masculine, because the moms just really baby their sons. So the women know how to do a lot. They know how to run the household and work hard and blah, 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 blah. But the sons were more like, oh, you don't have to cook. Oh, when they're done eating, it's like, don't stand up from the table. Like, I'll get the dishes for you. Do you want me to bring you dessert? Oh, you can go and relax. We're going to clean up and stuff like that.
Why do you think so? Do you have explanation for this?
If I had to guess, I would maybe say that it's because Serbia has such a history of war.
Yeah.
So I think that there's been so much loss. So there's this deep appreciation and like this kind of like holding on to, where it's like, if you have your son, like take care of him while you can, because you don't know what's going to happen. Whereas I think that there was a lot of pressure put on the women to be able to take care of the house and to be able to do all the things. I have a lot of like empathy and compassion for Serbians and how they relate to each other and how they move through the world, because I do think that there's a lot of trauma. You know, if you think about it, the Serbians that are like in my generation, like every Serbian that is living here right now has either a parent or a grandparent that was in some sort of war. So it's like, it doesn't matter. It's that kind of stuff doesn't disappear in a generation or two. Of course, you're still going to feel the repercussions of that in how people move through the world. My boyfriend, for example, he was born in Croatia. His family is Serbian, but he was born in Croatia. And in the 90s, they were refugees. They had to leave Croatia. They left their home. They left all of their belongings. And they had to flee to Serbia in like a day. So like, of course, his parents are going to be traumatized. Of course, my boyfriend is going to have some level of trauma from that experience as well. Most of my friends are single, and most of them are having such a hard time finding like a good man. And I don't think that that's only in Serbia. I think that that's like a worldwide issue right now.
Really?
Yeah,
Why?
absolutely. So I think that women have worked really hard to have good careers, to be in good shape, to go to therapy, to have healthy communication, to have strong relationships with their family and friends. And I think that men just haven't put in the same level of work, and they aren't showing up in their masculine. Like, I think that a lot of men are showing up very in their feminine, but then also expecting women to show up in their feminine. And it's like, that's not possible. You can't have a girl that's working a 9 to 5, coming home, cooking you dinner every day, that's cleaning the house, that's taking care of the kids, that's doing all of these things, and then expect her to be like, hi, honey, how are you? How was your day? It's like, she's working. She's working, she's hustling. She's not in her feminine, she's in her masculine. And I think that a lot of women, because they're able to exist on their own so well and take care of their own things, that it's like, unless there's a man that's really adding to their life, they're just going to be single and hang out with their girlfriends and like work their good job. And like, unless a man is really bringing a lot to the table, I think women would rather stay single. I'm really lucky. Like, I met my partner maybe 6 months after I moved here, and he's like such a good man, like very like just takes care of things, very in his masculine, allows me to feel very taken care of and in my feminine. And a lot of my girlfriends are just like, I'm jealous. It's hard to find a guy like that. So I can't really say firsthand if that's what's going on, because I've been with my partner for 4 years now, and that's not the relationship that I have with him at all. But speaking from the experience of my girlfriends that are talking about their dating experiences, that's what I think. That's what I hear.
Do you have some difficulties communication-wise? You're speaking in English with each other, yeah?
Always English. His English is like perfect. Like, he speaks literally perfect English. I wouldn't even consider him to have like a very thick Serbian accent. And our communication, I would say, is like, that was the thing that immediately like solidified us. Is we just like, we think the same way, we speak the same way. We have a very deep understanding of each other and give each other like a lot of grace and compassion. If there's ever been one thing that is very easy for us, it's like communicating and making sure that we understand each other, which I'm grateful for. I don't know if I could date somebody that doesn't speak good English. If it was constantly like lost in translation, I think I would find that so difficult.
Okay, let's speak about Serbian language. Do you learn?
I'm trying to learn Serbian. Hoću da učim srpski, ali srpski je teško jezik. I've been here so long and my Serbian is still so bad that I feel very embarrassed to speak Serbian.
Yeah.
And I think, yeah, it's always intimidating, like making mistakes doing something, but I need to get more okay with like doing something imperfectly.
Yeah.
And just being like, whatever, at least I'm trying. But it's interesting, like when I spend time with my boyfriend's family, usually by the end of hanging out with them, my Serbian is a lot better because I'm speaking with them the whole time in Serbian, but it takes me a little while to like switch my brain into like speaking Serbian.
Yeah.
At first it's really tough, and then by the end it's a lot better.
So how it was the first meeting with his family? Was it difficult for you?
No, it was so sweet. It's a little bit tough. Like, his parents don't speak English very well. His sister does. They can speak a little English, but his mom is like very shy to speak English. You can tell she gets very nervous. So the first time we met, I was so excited to meet them that I literally, as soon as I met his mom, I just gave her like the biggest hug. And I'm like, oh, it's so nice to meet you. They're so sweet. His mom is like so nice to me. I wish that I spoke better Serbian because his mom is such a yapper and I'm such a yapper. I know that if my Serbian was better, me and her would just be talking shit with each other 24/7. Like, we would just be dishing nonstop. I think a lot of people have a hard time dealing with their in-laws, particularly their mother. I think that there's kind of this stereotype of like mother-in-laws being kind of like Godzillas, like really poking their fingers into a relationship and but I'm really blessed. Like, his mom is very supportive. I've never felt like there's that weird catty energy or his mom is competing for his attention or something like that. She's so sweet. She's so welcoming.
Do you feel that Serbs from the family side impose on you some kind of demands?
In general, I think that his family is not very demanding. Like, they're not traditional Serbians. There was never pressure for us to like move in with his parents or something like that. And there's not pressure for us to act in a certain way. And I feel as though all of our friends have more of like a Western mindset as well. Like, if his friends come over, it's not like you have to make like a 5-course meal and have everything spotless. It's like they come over and we order burgers together and play board games, and it's kind of like, fuck it. Like, there's not that intensity. And I think that because I'm a foreigner as well, his parents have kind of had to accept the fact that like I'm not going to be a traditional Serbian wife. Like, I'm not a Serbian. I'm going to interact with you in a way that is nice. And obviously my partner is Serbian, so we find ways to like meet in the middle, but I'm not going to be like a Serbian housewife, and I think that they're okay with that.
In your videos, you often speak about mental health. What do you think? Do Serbs speak openly about mental health? Can you imagine a Serb guy who goes into therapy and who discusses it with his friends?
No. Men don't speak to each other about stuff like that. I think that they have a very hard time for whatever reason, and I don't know if that's just a Balkan thing or if that's just like a men thing in general. Like, they just have a hard time opening up. Or I think that in the context of men in their romantic relationships, they have a really hard time opening up to their partner because they don't want their partner to see them as being overly emotional, or that they're worried that in some way them talking about their feelings would emasculate them, which I think is really sad. I'm like a big feelings girl. So constantly, like, I ask my boyfriend probably 5 times a day, I'm like, how are you feeling? Something happens at work, I'm like, how do you feel about it? Like, is there anything you want to talk about? He'll talk to me about things that stress him out, but he's like, his name is Petar, and Petar in Serbian is like rock. And he's like very much so, he's like a rock. He's not a very emotional person. I think that he appreciates that he has the space to talk to me about things if he wants to, but he doesn't really like have very many things to talk to me about usually, which for me is crazy. I'm a very big feelings person. Like, me and my girl relationships, like, we're constantly just dishing and talking about things. But I think men have a hard time with that, which honestly makes me sad. I wish that men were more invested in their relationships and felt as though they had more emotional support. I think that's important for everyone.
Tell me, please, how to make friends with Serbs?
I feel like a bottle of rakia is always good to have. I feel like once you offer a Serb a shot of rakia, it's like game over. I find Serbians to be like very friendly and very easy to make friends with. I think as long as you're open with them and you're willing to chat and like have open and honest conversations with them, you're like good to go. Yeah, I wouldn't consider Serbs to be very difficult to be friends with. A Wednesday at 2 p.m. they'll just like, or 10 p.m. they'll call you up and they'll be like, hey, we're going out. Come out with us. And I'm like, bro, I have to work tomorrow and it's 10 p.m. Like, I'm literally in bed already. So I would say that that's one difficult thing. I would say if you're like me and you like to work a lot, but you want to have a Serbian friend, just find a 9-to-5er. Because they're doing their 9-to-5 during the day. I'm doing my 9-to-5 during the day. We can meet up at like 6 p.m. for some dinner and board games and stuff like that. And like be home by midnight. I haven't gotten used to the fact that a lot of Serbians, like the Splavs, for example, people aren't going out on a Splav until like midnight, 1 in the morning. But if I'm going out, I want to be home by like 1 in the morning. I'm not starting my night at 1. I'm ending my night at 1.
Yeah.
So I would say that that's one thing that's difficult. You have to have a lot of energy to be able to like party and keep up with them.
Yeah.
Which I don't really have. So most of my Serbian friends are like also in their late 20s, early 30s. They're like career girlies We like do our 9 to 5, we do our work, and then we just meet up afterwards. I
Yeah.
think that works better.
In one of your videos, you told that you like rakia. What type of rakia do you like?
I would say my favorite is probably like the classic, like I love like Dunya, Kaisia. Kaisia is my favorite actually.
How do you buy rakia?
Whenever I go traveling, if I find like one of those little like bubbas that has a stand on the side of the road, I think that that's the best place to buy rakia. Buy rakia, buy like jams, buy honey, buy anything that you want. That's my absolute favorite. But when in doubt, you can just head to the store and just grab some. Grab a bottle of like Vuk or something like that. It's always good.
Wow. Dobre momci.
From Belgrade. This is rakia bought from like a little like farm in Croatia.
Aha.
Yeah, they make olive oil in rakia. It's really nice. It's kind of like lemony. It's a little bit more tart. And then this is like not even rakia. If you've ever had honey rakia before, it literally just tastes like honey. It's so sweet.
Being from Canada, in this part of the world, surely you have some kind of cultural shocks here.
Pichenya, I would say, is like the #1 cultural shock. I remember the first time I saw them roasting a pig on a stick, I was like, where am I? What is going on?
So when you saw this roasted pig, you were afraid?
I don't know if I was afraid, but it's just the sensation of like, okay, I'm definitely not in Canada anymore, you know?
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, like this is not something that I've ever experienced before. I think one of the cultural shocks that I actually really appreciate is how family-oriented people are here. So in Canada, it's very individualistic. Like from the time you're 18 years old, like you're just kind of, you move out, you're on your own, you're doing your thing. But here, people will live at home until they're like in their 30s. And that's just completely normal. And families are a lot more tied to each other. They own real estate together, they own cars together. They are just very enmeshed. And that was actually something that, since I'm dating a Serbian, was like kind of difficult for me to wrap my head around and get used to when I first moved here.
Do you like it personally, or it's for you too much?
I do like it. I think that it can be too much. I think that definitely families have more of a codependent tendency here that maybe, like, I think that in the West, it's too far to one side, and in Serbia, sometimes it can be too far to the other side. And I think that there has to be a happy middle. But in general, I think if you're going to go to one extreme or the other, the extreme of Serbia is better than the extreme of Canada. Because families should be sticking together. Why are parents not checking in on their kids? Why is it like every man for themselves? This is literally your family.
But on the other side, this could lead to absence of privacy, you know?
For sure.
Because Serbs live in these kind of houses, you know, they called it porodična kuća, family house.
For me, it's a little bit too far. I don't think that I would be open to doing like the whole multi-generational thing, maybe in like separate houses on the same property or something, but I need 1 degree of separation. But if it works for them, like jebiga, like live your best life. Who am I to judge?
You speak in jebiga just like Serbian.
Yeah, that's my favorite. Even when I was back in Canada, there's certain words that like I'll still speak even though I know that nobody understands them, and jebiga is the one thing because it just sounds better. Like fuck it has kind of like a different like connotation for some reason.
I don't use this word, but as a person who uses, can you explain me what does it mean?
Just fuck it. Jebiga, fuck it. You know, it's just like, oh, whatever, doesn't matter. Jebiga, do what you want. That's how I interpret it anyway.
What is the best things for you in living in Serbia?
Definitely the safety aspect of it. I love how safe I feel here. I love that I feel like I'm able to go out later at night, go for walks in the evening. I never have to feel afraid. I also love just how normal people are. I love the fact that you can go by a basketball court at 10 p.m. and see kids like running around and playing. I feel like Serbia now is like Canada was in the 90s, where it's just like kids out playing and just like more of just a normal like family neighborhood vibe. Because I feel like Canada's lost that a little bit.
Why did you think Canada lost it, and why do you think Serbia has it?
Honestly, I think that a lot of it has to do with like mass immigration in Canada. Serbia is very strong in its values, and people really feel connected to each other because they speak the same language. They all are like Orthodox. They have the same religion, they look the same, they move through the world in the same way. But I think that Canada doesn't really have that to the same degree anymore. It's very multicultural, and I don't think that there's anything wrong with that. But I do think that there's less of a connection to the people around them.
What are the worst things for you in Serbia?
Indoor smoking. I would say that that's like the number one thing, especially during the winter. During the summer, you don't feel it so much. People are out on the patio, whatever. But the smoking indoors, I absolutely hate it. I feel like for the winter months, I basically have to just stay inside because it's so difficult. Like, I love to go and work from cafes, and there's nothing worse than sitting in a cafe working and somebody comes and sits down right beside you and just chain smokes for like 3 hours.
Wow.
While they're hanging out with their friends. Like, I can't work like that. I literally have to just pack up my stuff and leave.
You drive here.
I do drive here.
What do you think about driving style of Serbs?
My friend said it best. He said that they're the best worst drivers in the world. Because Serbians know how to drive really well. They're very good drivers. But they just like don't give a fuck. So they're constantly doing like dangerous stuff and like cutting each other off and just like acting crazy on the road. But they're very good drivers, you know, like technically good drivers. You never know. You could be driving down the street and then all of a sudden somebody like just stops in front of you, puts on their blinkers, and then you're just left to like drive around and people cutting each other off all the time, just like madness.
Do you drive here automatic or manual?
I've been driving manual since I was like 15 years old.
Really?
So for me, like I hate driving manual. I would rather have an automatic, but I can drive manual all day. It's like easy peasy.
I got the impression that everybody drives in Canada automatic.
They do for sure. Yeah, Canada, it's like you get in your car and you're going to drive your little automatic car down like these pristine roads where everybody's following the rules. And at the end, you're going to have like a huge parking lot where you can just like easily go and like park. Here, it's like you're going to get in your car. It's going to be absolute mayhem trying to get wherever you're trying to go. And then when you get there, you're going to have to park between a tree and like a trash can and like reverse into the spot while there's 10 people waiting for you to park and honking at you.
Yeah.
It's like crazy. I get stressed every time before I have to drive somewhere. But it's one of those things like I don't want to be limited in feeling like I can't drive here. So I'm like, even though I feel scared doing it, I'm going to do it. Like Slavia. The first time I did Slavia, I literally cried when I got out of it. I was like, I can't believe I just did that.
What do you think Canada can learn from Serbia?
Like, I think that Serbians, like, they have very strong morals and values, and they're willing to stand up for those morals and values. And I think that Canadians have kind of lost that. They're a little too worried about virtue signaling. I feel like Canadians are more worried about appearing like a good and politically correct person than they are standing by their own like morals and values. And that's something that bothers me. And then the other thing is just like, I think that they could invest a little bit more in their relationships. I think that Canada and America is so driven by the self, and people really forget about investing in deep relationships with their friends and with their family. And especially when it comes to family, I think that Canadians could learn a lot from Serbians, because I think that the way that Serbians treat their family and interact with their family is a lot better compared to the West.
What is the most valuable thing that you found in Serbia?
I would say just like my purpose, because when I was living in Canada, I was making very like easy, fast money. I was working in nightclubs. And so like a very different lifestyle, like up all night, literally just like basically like partying for work, like always around alcohol, just like kind of crazy. But the money was so good that I think that if I was back in Canada and able to make that money, I don't know if I ever would have like left that industry. It would have been a lot harder to leave. But living in Serbia, not being able to just be like, wow, building a business is really hard. I'm just going to go back to making like fast, easy money. It's like, no, I'm in Serbia. Like I have to build a business. I have to be able to make money online. There's no like, wow, this is hard. I don't want to do it anymore. It's like, I have to freaking do it. So I think that a lot of times where if I was in Canada, I would have quit doing something because it felt too hard. I didn't have the opportunity to. And because of that, I've built a business that I like absolutely love and feels very purposeful and very in alignment.
So Serbia made you more focused, more purposeful.
For sure. And I think that this is maybe not necessarily something that is particular to Serbia because I could have this experience anywhere else. But meeting my boyfriend and having the friends that I have, I feel has also allowed me to transform into like the most in alignment and truest version of myself. When you're surrounded by people who genuinely like love you for you and like help to build you up and like make you feel good and like support you and take care of you, like I feel like I'm now the best version of myself because I've just had my cup like so poured into by the relationships in my life. And obviously I could meet a boyfriend like my boyfriend if I was living in Canada, if I was living in South America, like I could meet my best friend also anywhere in the world. But very particular to Serbia has been meeting people that are absolute loves of my life. And I feel like they've helped me transform into the best version of myself as well. And that's a really beautiful thing. I'm very grateful for that.